Hi everyone, welcome to 16Figure Focused, and in this video I'm going to outline my nominees for the best Hot Toys 6 scale figures of 2022. Let's get started. Alright, so these are my nominees. This video is all about the nominees for the best Hot Toys 1/6 scale figures 2022 so far. This is actually part one of a two-part series. What I'm going to do is I'm going to outline my nominees now, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to get feedback from the community via a poll on the community tab of my YouTube channel, and then later on in the year, maybe towards the end of December, I will go through the best figures, like the top 5 figures or top 10 figures that were released in 2022. So how I put together this list, right? So just a few kind of disclaimers here. They're all Hot Toys, alright, so I haven't included any third party. They're all Hot Toys, they're all 1/6 scale, so there's no quarter scale here, and there's no vehicles, and yeah, I've included the Blurg as a vehicle, so there's no vehicles. I wanted to keep it simple. Hot Toys, officially licensed, 1/6 scale figures, so I didn't really mess around with vehicles or quarter scales, anything like that. There are no 2.0s, and there are no reissues. The way I see that, they've been released already, they've had their day in the sun, so obviously if something's a 2.0, it should be better, so therefore it would have kind of an unfair advantage over like a figure that has been released already this year, or been released, something like that. So I didn't want to give an unfair advantage. So there are no reissues, 2.0s, 3.0s, and that includes the DX19. The DX19, I love that figure. It's one of my favorite figures in my collection. It was released this year. It is a 2.0, so therefore I didn't include it on this list. Although I do feel that the improvements that they've made in that figure were far better than, say, the DX02 and even the DX12. But it's not on the list. You're not going to find it here, even though it was released, like I said, no reissues on this list, no 2.0s, 3.0s, that kind of thing. There are variations, but no straight reissues or 2.0s. There's also no troopers on this list, because I'm a trooper collector. I'm definitely biased, so I wanted to kind of avoid that. And let's face it, is the transport trooper, the assault tank trooper, or the dark trooper going to be figure of the year? Probably not. So what I've done is I'm going to call out the entire list of figures that I had at the start, and I'll outline how I whittled it down. Right, so this is what we have. These are figures that, now the criteria, just to be clear, they're Hot Toys figures, they're 1/6 scale, they're not vehicles, there's no 2.0s, no reissues, and they have to be released in 2022, and yes, released, not announced. So you're not going to see announcements, like you're not going to see that upgraded suit goblin on it or anything like that, because they are not actually released yet. And you won't see the in-art Joker because it's not released yet, and it's not Hot Toys. So what the list originally was the Mark V reissue, and I suppose the Mark V reissue, the Black Widow from the Black Widow solo film, Mando and the Blurg, Boba and the Throne, the Churro Spider-Man, Mark 46 2.0, Stealth Suit, Cap 2.0, Cable, the 3 Chrome Troopers, so that's the Death Trooper, Clone Trooper, and the Chrome Stormtrooper, the Venomized Iron Man, Bucky, Dark Trooper, Arena Suit, Boba Fett, Illusion Iron Man, Scout Trooper and Speeder Bike, the Black Suit Superman and Nightmare, Batman 2-pack, Comic Book Iron Man, Vision, Taskmaster, Snowspeeder, Luke, Moff Gideon, Jango Fett, Miles Morales from the 2020 suit computer game, Miles Morales from the Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie, Transport Trooper, DX19, Clone Wars, Maul, Ahsoka Tano, the Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn, Classic Suit, Spider-Man, Assault Tank Commander, Incinerator Trooper, Boba Robot 2-pack, and Wonder Woman Golden Armor, which was released on January 1st. Now, I might have missed one or two there. If I have, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. So what I did straight away, I kind of, after a bit of thinking, I was like, no, we're going to keep this 6 scale. We're going to get rid of all the vehicles. So all the Scout Trooper and Speeder Bike, that's gone. The Swoop Bike isn't going to be included in this, gone. And the Blurg, gone. So vehicles and kind of creatures, gone. The next thing I did was I kind of looked at the trooper, and even though I'm a trooper collector, I have the transport trooper, and especially the assault tank trooper I really love, and the Return of the Jedi scout trooper I really, really love. I said, no, you know what, realistically they're not going to be figures of the year, so I got rid of them, and I got rid of the chrome troopers, because let's face it, were they the best figure of 2022 in fairness? Yeah, so these are the then I whittled them down, and I came up with 11, I think I have, right? Now, I do think that these are figures that I personally think are great figures. Do I own them all and have them in hand? No, because there are some fantastic figures that were released, and you'll see my list, but I just don't collect them. All right, so some of these I have, and I do have in my collection, and I admire them, and they're beautiful and all that. But some of them are amazing figures, but they just don't fit into my collection. So I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. I mean, come on, the DX19 is not even on this list because it's a 2.0, so therefore it's not on the list. So in no particular order, we're going to go through these 11 shortlisted nominees for the best Hot Toys 1/6 scale figure of 2022. Obviously this list will be updated, and in the second part of this video I'll outline my official top 10 or top 5 figures of the year 2022, because let's face it, there's going to be some drops in November and next month. Right, so number 1, Boba Fett and the Throne. Whether you like the TV show or not, let's face it, this was actually branded Mandalorian, so I mean, for me, I've got the Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett. It's up there on the shelf there. And then I've got the Boba Roba 2-pack. This is from the original trilogy, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. And these here are from The Mandalorian, when he basically tore apart a battalion of stormtroopers with a gaffy stick. And then when he got the... Let's face it, they didn't stand a chance when he got the armor. Fantastic episode, Mandalorian. And this here is Brandon Mandalorian. So if you still wanted to get the throne and get Boba and put Fennec Shan next to it, you could say this is from the Mandalorian. Or even if you like the Boba Fett, you could do that. Or even if you didn't like the Boba Fett and you just really, really like the throne and the Boba, more power to you. This is a fantastic looking piece. The repaint armor, I think, looks really well. The throne itself, it just looks great. Like, I've got that Robocop over my shoulder here, and just figures on thrones, they just have a lot of presence. So I don't think too many people out there would disagree that this deserves to be on the short list at the very least. Maybe it's not going to be figure of the year, but yeah, especially if you get the throne as well. I think you get the head sculpt. Would I be right in that? I think, yeah, pretty sure if you get the throne version here, you get the head sculpt. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. The 2-pack obviously comes with the head sculpt, and this comes with a head sculpt as well, I believe. So this is definitely one of the nominees. Now again, these are in no particular order. Cable. Right. So I've been back and forth on Cable. This and Snowspeeder Luke were my most anticipated releases for this year. And I had this fully paid off in Sideshow. I've well documented it on various different videos and my review that I did of this figure and on different live streams. I was really excited about it for it, but I was disappointed when I saw the final blogger images. Now, a lot of that I think that was maybe down to the blogger photos, but I'm not going to change my mind on this. This is what you're looking at as the prototype. And the actual product definitely did soften. It still looks like Josh Brolin, but it has softened. So that was one of my critiques. Another critique was that the elbow joints on both arms, particularly the normal hand, actually in hand the mechanical arm looks fine, but that unsightly joint, it was a bit more obvious in the real product as opposed to the prototype. And obviously, look, that he's too skinny. Like, I felt that the prototype images, he was just a bit bigger and it looked a lot better. So I definitely won't go back on that. However, when I did get him in hand, my theory was correct, that if I kept the burgundy kind of t-shirt on, the vest with all the grenades and all the different like cartridges and stuff he has, and the poncho, and pose it in a certain way just to cover up the joint, it will look very well. And I have to say, this figure looks amazing on the shelf. I mean, like I said, the sculpt is still there. It's softer. It's definitely softer than the prototype, but it's still Josh Brolin. The poncho is a fantastic accessory. The BFG is a fantastic accessory. This is one of those figures that you can pose up. What I love about it is it comes with so much stuff. And you can use all that stuff and it doesn't look forced. It doesn't look like you're trying to just throw everything in the kitchen sink on top of him. You can have him holding the BFG or the BFG in his back. You can have him with the poncho. You can have, like I said, the vest, the t-shirt. You can have all those cartridges on his vest, and kind of there's some other kind of cartridges that hang off the front of his vest as well. He's got that teddy bear that is obviously his daughter's teddy bear, which hangs off the back of his belt. You have his gun, his grenade launcher in their holsters. So there's it's just so toyetic. And then you got the arm as well. This is a fantastic figure. If you're on the fence about it and you really like Deadpool 2 and you really like Cable from Deadpool 2, because let's face it, he's not the Cable from the comic book, but I thought they'd done a great job with this. I was disappointed originally. I still think he's too skinny. Unfortunately, like, my biggest gripe with this is you can't really pose him without the top on, like the prototype images did show us. But I still think this deserves to be on the list. It is a fantastic piece, and I'm glad I went with it. But I also didn't think it was worth $270, and I cancelled with Sideshow because it'd been delayed. I got a full refund, kept my energy, and I went over to Lion Rock Toys and they gave me an amazing deal. And I'm glad I did that because I saved some money and still got better value for that figure. Deserves to be on the list, I think, of the top 10 figures of this year. Next one, again, these are in no particular order. I don't own this figure. Okay, I do not own this figure. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted, but I've settled on no. I'm not going to go down the zombie line. I don't need all the Iron Mans. Besides that Mark III 2.0 is coming out, I'm finished with the Iron Mans that I have. I have all the ones in my collection that I love. The Mark VI is there; it's my favorite. The Mark III quarter scale behind my screen because I want 3 different quarter scales. I want a representation for Marvel in the Mark III. I want a representation in DC because I have the Dark Knight quarter scale from the Dark Knight trilogy with that amazing base coming out. And I'm gonna hunt down that Vader. Maybe next year they'll give us a reissue of the quarter scale. Could happen. So. The Mark 47 then, of course, next to the Homecoming, because I really liked Homecoming, really liked Tom Holland Spider-Man. That Spider-Man there, that is the best Spider-Man I think Hot Toys have ever done. And the Mark 47 is so unique with that silver. And the Mark 85, because, come on, that iconic scene. There are still other Iron Man suits out there that I think are amazing looking suits, but I just can't justify putting more time and more space into getting them. Like the Mark 7, amazing suit. The Mark 1 was the first one ever. The Mark 5, I mean, come on. So I personally can't have everything because time, space, budget, life and so forth. But the detail on this is fantastic. Like one of my favorite details about this is because it's so heavily worn. Like I love battle damage and I love weathering. I've documented that in my channel in different streams multiple times. But I really love how this is so weathered and worn. You can see the skull underneath. And you can see the teeth as well, and it's just gnarled, it's dirty, it looks like it's covered, it's just literally crawled out of the ground. You've got some electronics and wires coming out of it. This is a fantastic looking piece. Lit up with like a soap reactor or something like that. This would make actually a great Halloween decoration. And I think it's underrated, but I think it's the detail on it, not die cast, but fantastic looking piece. I think it does deserve to be on this list. Okay, I mightn't have included any troopers or any 2.0s or any reissues, but I did include 2-packs. You could argue here, and you'd be right too, that just before you go mad in the comment section, yes, I know the Nightmare Batman is a 2.0. They have made significant improvements to the coat, and this kind of buff or like scarf thing he has is the right color now. And of course, you could argue that the Justice League Superman this is just a 2.0, but this is the first time we've ever seen the black suit Superman, and they've also made that adjustment to his biceps, so now he can rest his hands down by his sides as opposed to going around as if he's juicing on the gym. It is a 2-pack. I have included 2-packs. I didn't want to split them up, so when I say figure of the year, just going to be figures of the year. I'm not going to split them up. They come in the one box, so this is one of the products of the year, and I do think that this deserves to be on this list. This was heavily sought after. The adjustments they've made, they've significantly improved it. This is definitely technically a 2.0, so this is, I suppose, arguably the only 2.0 on the list. And this here as well, we've never seen this before. We've seen the Justice League blue and red suit, we've never seen the black suit before. But I think this is going to be on a lot of 1/6 scale collecting YouTubers, content creators channels for their top 10s at the end of the year. I do think this is going to feature. I've passed on it because I have the Justice League, I have the Superman. I'm not a fan of the Snyder Cut. I'm not a fan of the Josh Whedon Justice League. I'm really not a fan of the whole DCEU thing with regards to, apart from maybe Man of Steel. So, but I am a fan of that Justice League Superman because it's just down there. You can see it behind me. Because of the Henry Cavill, he is just Superman. I did really like Man of Steel. I do like Henry Cavill playing the role. He's just born to play Superman, and that vibrant blue suit and the proportions and everything. He's kind of overly jacked, but I just think it works. So I've passed on these, but I do admire them from far. I do think they deserve to be on this list of best figures of 2022. This figure is amazing. Original trilogy, Luke Skywalker. Where do I even start with this? That orange pops on the shelf. You can see it just above me here. It's original trilogy. It's vintage looking. It's weathered. It's worn. It's rustic. It just screams like the Rebels have a low budget to me. The helmet is the star of the show here, heavily worn and weathered up. The paint apps look amazing. With that visor down, look, they always kind of struggle with Mark Hamill's likeness, but with that visor down, I think they've got the lower part of his face right. I think that sculpt is actually quite good, and when posed, especially with that visor down, just showing his mouth and chin part, it works really well. You've got the little kind of communicator here device, the kind of comm that comes around his mouth here for communication. You've got that kind of a flight cap underneath. Like I said before, the orange really pops. It's weathered up. It looks just like it does on the screen. I never thought they'd do this. This and Cable were my two most anticipated figures of this year. This is another figure that you can pose with a bounty of accessories. You can nearly pose this with nearly all his accessories and it doesn't look forced. What I mean by that is you can have his blaster in his holster. You can have his lightsaber hilt hanging off his belt. There's a little clip for it. Obviously you have this as like part of the costume with the pipe that comes off, but that's even a nice touch. You can pose him with the helmet as well, the blast shield up or down, and the grappling gun as well. So he's posed with a lot of his stuff, but it doesn't look like you're just forcing him to pose with it. I think the sculpt is quite good, bearing in mind that they've never really nailed Mark Hamill's likeness. Trump card here has to be that weathered up, dirtied up helmet. Flight suit pops. I think the proportions are good. I've heard people complain about like it's a bit too poofy, like, but no, I wouldn't split hairs over that. I actually think it looks great. So this is a fantastic figure. It was always going to be on the list, let's face it. Miles Morales. I don't have this on my. I don't have this in my collection. And I won't be picking him up. I'm not the biggest fan of the multiverse or the Into the Spider-Verse. I've watched it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really appreciate its originality. It laid the foundation and the framework for essentially the multiverse in the live-action MCU. I don't think we would have got Andrew and Toby appearing in Spider-Man No Way Home if it wasn't for Miles Morales and if it wasn't for Into the Spider-Verse. So massive respect for that animation, and just give us something different. Miles Morales, cool character as well, and again, this figure comes with an absolute bounty of accessories. And one of the things I really love about Spider-Man figures is when they're wearing the suit, but then they layer up the casual clothes over. Probably why I like this particular figure so much, because you've got the hoodie, the blazer, the headphones, science book, all that kind of stuff. And this one's very, very like that. There's numerous different ways. I've heard people say that they're going to buy two of these, or have bought two of these, because there's so many different ways you can pose it up. You can pose it with just his regular Spider-Man suit. You can pose it then with kind of like his shorts. He's got like the pants as well, and the Jordans that aren't actually Jordans. They don't have the Nike tick, but a lot of people are just like buying third-party versions with the tick and stuff like that. The sculpt, they've done a great job with the animation. These are the prototype images, but I've seen the real thing as well. It looks fantastic. So I think this is going to be on a lot of people's top 5 or top 10 lists or figures of the year. Yeah, fantastic looking piece. Another Miles Morales. Like, this is a figure I don't have in my collection because it's from the Spider-Man game, and I don't play the game because I know if I play the game, I'll want to get some of the figures, and that is something my wallet cannot afford. So again, if you've been following the channel, I rule out certain lines. Spider-Man games, I don't play the game, so why should I delve into this? But these are figures, like a figure on the screen right now, this Miles Morales 2020 suit from the computer game. These are the ones that make it difficult because they just look cool. Whatever, like kind of the lighting that's going on in his eyes there, the headphones, even the cord, look, they just kind of real old school look. The kind of biker jacket, a bunch. It just looks like a cool piece. Not for me, I'm not going to pick it up, but it's a unique one. I don't think it's going to be on too many people's top 10, but I just thought this one was just a really, really cool design. But yeah, look, not for me. Ahsoka is definitely going to be on people's top 10 lists. I'm pretty sure this came out this year. Yeah, I went back and I checked them all. All these figures came out this year. But yeah, it's sitting now, which is unique because this broke the internet when it was announced, and people who were mad into Clone Wars were just like salivating for this, and it got a lot of praise and feedback, and the reviews are good. It looks the part. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if this wasn't on people's list. I don't have it because I don't collect Clone Wars. Like I said, I rule out lines. I've ruled out the entire Spider-Man PS4 game line. I've ruled out Clone Wars. I've ruled out sequels for obvious reasons. Because I have to stay in my lane. You can't get everything, space, money, that kind of thing. But fantastic looking figure. I've definitely admired it for the far, and yeah, I definitely think it deserves to be on this list. Another Spider-Man. There are any amounts of Spider-Men, and this one here might seem like just another Spider-Man, but this one what a lot of people loved about it was probably the closest representation to the classic suit from the comics. That classic red and blue with the lines and the side of the spider and all that kind of stuff. It's a great looking piece, so if people were just diehard Spider-Man fans, even if they're not Hot Toys collectors or 1/6 scale collectors, they could just pick this and this could be their representation of Spider-Man if they're, like, say, a diehard comic book fan, or if you just really, really like Spider-Man. So it's not like, if you like flick back, it's not like this crazy looking Spider-Man. Like, this isn't for your fair weather Spider-Man fan. This is for your kind of like just hardcore like PS4 Spider-Man game fan, or just a hardcore Spider-Man collector who wants all the different renditions or different versions. But this one here would be more for like the classic, if you just wanted one representation of Spider-Man in your collection. You didn't need a Tom Holland head sculpt or anything like that. Comes with a really, really nice base. Comes with like the Scorpion tail and stuff like that. Like, you can wrap around, it's flexible, you can wrap it around and make it look like he's kind of coming in through the window and stuff. A few nice accessories. I think it comes with like a coffee cup and a newspaper and stuff like that. But yeah, people went mad for this one. I can totally see why. It's not going to become in my collection because it's from the computer game. I don't collect computer games. But yeah, look, you have to, if you want to be sustained and stay in this collection, you need to say no to a lot of things you like and that look cool, and kind of focus on the things that you love. This one was obviously always going to be on the list. This is over my shoulder here. I obviously have this. This was one of those ones, as soon as I saw the prototype images pop up, as soon as this was announced, it was like, done. This was as close to a day one pre-order as I've ever done. I still did not dopo it. I don't tend to do that. I make jokes a lot of time, but I don't tend to do that. But this was, I saw this and I was like, this is right up my street. Where do I even start with this? A unique 2-pack, even though they're the same character. It's unique because you've got that kind of the nomad look, the Boba Fett on the left here. The head sculpt, that head sculpt's a 10. Like, that's, I compare a lot of other head sculpts now to that. That's up there with your Yondus and you know, the Tarkins and stuff like that, and the Krennics, and a really, really good head sculpt. It's the strongest head sculpt, one of the strongest ones I've ever seen. It's the strongest one in my collection, and I mean, in fairness, like, I have it very close to this Mark 47. That Tony Stark head sculpt, that Robert Downey Jr. head sculpt, heavily underrated. It's a fantastic looking sculpt. The Mark 85 battle damage, another fantastic looking sculpt, but this is still, like, I have some very, very nice, very, very good accurate sculpt, but this one, it just looks very lifelike. It's creepy to look at. It's so good. Two very, very nice diorama stands. Obviously, the linking back to the source material of this, when both versions of Boba Fett absolutely destroyed a battalion worth of stormtroopers, and when he got his armor back, heavily weathered from being in the Sarlacc pit, heavily worn, weathered, battle damaged, looks fantastic. It just corroded, just looks heavily corroded, and even the colors that pop through, like the color on the gauntlets, it's kind of like a winish burgundy color. I just think that's a fantastic touch. I like the way he's a bit more of a weighty character as well. Thought that it worked really well. Bunch of accessories. Like his that flame effect. It has obviously his jetpack, his blaster. I think it's 2 blasters. Comes with the gaffy stick. Then I think it comes with like a grappling gun and stuff like that. And it's just this is just, again, definitely going to be on the list. Definitely going to be on a lot of lists, and I think absolutely deserves to be. This next one, this is the last one actually. This is number 11. Like I said, I got rid of 2.0's reissues, including the DX19. I've been very, very fair. And I'm a Trooper collector, but there's no Troopers on this list because, let's face it, are they really going to be figure of the year? This thing came out January 1st, so barely made the cut. Like I said, I'm not a fan of DCEU. Films they don't do it for me, so I don't collect them. This is a prototype image, and I've seen the real thing. I don't think they've captured Gal Gadot's likeness. I think the rooted hair is very, very questionable. Sorry, it's a Java screaming at me here. But the piece itself, the sum of its parts, the overall thing, you put the helmet on that and just throw the hair behind it, you're not going to have to mess around with it really. And it just looks like a stunning piece. Like, your eye will just gravitate towards this. It just has presence, especially the version on screen now with the big wingspan. There's another collapsed version you can get as well, but I would be surprised if this didn't pop up on some figures of the year, despite the kind of, I really don't think the face sculpt looked very doll-like to me. It didn't look like Gal Gadot. I think they have a tough time capturing Gal Gadot's likeness, but the overall figure as a piece with that stunning gold paint job, the armor she has, and the wings, the white wings, even the kind of the helmet she has, it's a beautiful looking piece. Definitely not for me, because like I said, I didn't like the source material. And even like, I think this is, she wears this golden armor in a comic book called Kingdom Come, I believe. So, but I'm like, I haven't read it. I'm not a massive fan of that. But like, I don't know if I'm a fan because I haven't read it. But for people that are into the comic books and into Kingdom Come and into the DCEU and Wonder Woman, like this particular suit, I think that's a lot of people like very, very happy with this. So that's pretty much it. Look, like I said, these are just my nominees, right? There are going to be other ones because more figures are going to be released between now and December 31st. I will add to this list, and then I'm going to put up a poll and get some feedback, and I will eventually go through my own. I might actually, in next part of this, I will outline the people's picks and then my own top 5. So that's it. There are my nominees for so far for best 1/6 scale Hot Toys figures that have been released so far in 2022. If you want to support the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Are there any figures that you felt should be on the list? Bear in mind, it is my list. I'm probably not going to change it, but maybe there might be ones that like I genuinely forgot. So maybe give your list in the comment section down below, and it might actually remind me, God, I forgot that one. That actually is a really good one. It should be on the list, so I can bear it in mind for the official list later on towards the end of this year. You can also follow me on Instagram and on Twitter. That's it. That's the end of the video. See you in the next one. Good luck.